What's good, everybody? It's Big Game James. I'm in these streets. I'm in these Gilly streets. Game-winning interception last year with the Vikings. Oh, turnover picked up by Gilly. I like it. I like it. I like it. Now, reason why I'm making this video, I'm letting you see it. You remember when him and A.J. Brown went against it and had fun that bout a couple of years ago? I loved watching that. That was the old Gilly. You still saw some Gilly. I'm going to let you watch these other clips. Another clip, and it's when he played with the Panthers. It's not when he played with the Vikings or the Cowboys recently. But it is still showing you how he can still trail, and he's versatile. He can play outside, and he can play in the slot. Now, I just showed you how Jaire Alexander was released from the Green Bay Packers, and everybody in Cowboys land is saying go after him, go after him. And if you don't want to go after him, you're scared. You don't want him. You ain't trying to be good. You ain't trying to be great. I feel that. I feel what you're saying. But guess what? This is what I'm going to go ahead and lean towards as you keep on watching these highlights of Gilly when he played with the Cowboys and a little bit with the Panthers. This is what I'm going to say. This thing that everybody's been talking about is the availability, too. You've had 17 game seasons now. Good. I remember that play. You had 17 game seasons now. So two seasons is 34 games. Alexander's played 14 of those, so he's missed 20 games in 2 years. I don't care. That's something I'm going to keep my eyes on. That's something that's going to be permanent in my head. Now, I know Gilly's 34, but he did play 15 games last year. His availability is better. His familiarity with the Cowboys is better. And he will be cheaper. Let's be honest. Yeah, the Cowboys that went out and did some signing, but they still ain't spending a lot of money on the guys they go after. And Jaire Alexander, he wants money. That's why he vetoed that trade with the Buffalo Bills, because he wants to get paid. So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and say, I kind of want to stay away from the Jaire Alexander, and I'll break out more when I tell you here in a second. As you watch this last little highlight, Gilly's playing in the slot. Can Jaire Alexander do that? That's the only thing I'm talking about. Can he do that? That's the biggest difference to me. Oh, I'm just saying availability. He can still do the crossing patterns even though he's a little bit older. That's why I lean towards a Gilly than Alexander. He's going to be less expensive. Dallas still don't pay. He's been with the system. We know that, and he's a little bit more versatile than Alexander, even with the age. So I'm going to lean that way with Gilly. What's good, everybody? It's Big Game James. I'm in these streets. I'm back in these work streets. You know what I'm saying? I just dropped the Jaire. I'm sorry, not the Jaire Alexander video, but the Stephon Gilmore video. And the reason why I dropped it is because we just seen Jaire Alexander from the Green Bay Packers just got released. Everybody's already trying to connect the dots to the Dallas Cowboys, but you're going to get into a bidding war. Do the Dallas Cowboys get into a bidding war with any of these teams? I believe not. And when I was reading up on some information about Jaire Alexander, one of the things I read up on was there was a trade with him between Green Bay and potentially Buffalo, but he pretty much nixed that trade because money. Wanted some more money. They were talking about possibly doing an extension and staying with the Green Bay Packers, but he was going to have to take a pay cut. He didn't want to do that. So you got two teams where he's not willing to budge on his money, and I believe he's getting what, $17 million a year annually, I believe. And you know the top guys now are commanding like 20, 21, 22, 23. Those top guys are getting that. And he didn't want to budge from that. $17 million is not expensive for a corner. This I know. But Dallas don't get into bidding wars. And like I said, these other teams, the Rams, there's a whole list of teams that were way before the Cowboys that came up for Jaire Alexander's services. So this is the only thing I'm going to say as I do this quick video as you check the highlights before. Gilly can play in the slot. Gilly can play on the outside. I don't know if Alexander can play in the slot. I ain't never seen him play in the slot. So right there's a little more versatile, and that's why I said I'm going to lean towards Stephon Gilmore more than Alexander. I know Jaire is 28. I know Gilly is 34. Trust and believe I know. Please don't look at me like, you ain't even know it ain't that. I'm looking at not my wants. I'm looking at what the front office is going to do. That's what I look at. I don't try to look at how much I want the player or want this and want that. I look at what's the organization usually do in these instances. And from what I've seen, the organization does not try to go after and pay for guys like that. You already got cornerbacks that are hurt. You already got Ravel hurt. You already got Diggs hurt. You already got Butler hurt. Why would you get a guy who's missed 20 games in the last 2 years and missed games before that? And I also just feel like this would be like the Marshawn Lattimore trade that the Washington Commanders did at the trade deadline. They gave up a third for Lattimore, and everybody was like, oh, yeah, they going hard in the paint. They ain't playing around. They doing this and they ain't doing that. And guess what? Marshawn Lattimore, I said, was going to be a bust going over there. And in my opinion, he was, because he did not play up to the standards that you would want a quote-unquote Marshawn Lattimore playing for. He looked very regular. He didn't come over and do the things that they wanted, and he missed some games, had injuries over there in Washington, and I just feel like y'all wasted that third on an aging cornerback who is not that guy he used to be. And that's what I feel like is happening to Alexander. I feel like even though he's 28, he's aging, even though he still has great skills. I just feel that the Cowboys, number one, don't get in bidding wars. They're not going to pay that money. We know what they do. So, and you already seen Gilmore already come back to the building, already have a talk with the Cowboys. And he started 15 games with the Vikings last year and was not a bad starter with the Vikings. Was he upper echelon? No. But at this point in time, when you're looking at what the Cowboys are doing, they're not going to get in no bidding war for Jaire Alexander. He's injury prone. You already got injured guy cornerbacks there. I'm not saying don't touch it, but Cowboys ain't going to pay that money. That's the biggest thing. Cowboys ain't going to pay that money, and the availability is not there. And I would just go with a Gilly who played 15 games, and I know he's going to be there. And he's a veteran. He's savvy. He knows the ins and outs. So he knows he doesn't have that speed anymore. So he knows how to really play the veteran type game, really know angles. Because when you get older, you have to play smarter. And I think that's what Gilly does. So that's why I will lean toward a Gilmore right now than an Alexander, because Dallas ain't paying that money. He's not as versatile. And he doesn't have the familiarity with the system like a Gilmore does. So y'all can hate on me all you want, but I'm taking Gilly over a Jaire Alexander. Hate if you like. I don't care. Big Game James. I'm out. Peace.